Hello, my name's Wade Antonio Caldwell, and I live in Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm a consultant for schools around the country. The particular work I do is called Deep Equity. It's also called Youth Equity Stewardship. And I'm making this video and I'm just speaking from the heart because there's a narrative that has become quite influential around school districts that equity work is against white students or white teachers or against certain values, particularly conservative values or perhaps even Christian values. This is not my experience. In fact, it's not even close to the process by which we operate. And I can't speak for everybody who does equity work, but I have never seen it happen. And so if anything, the equity work is really how do we uplift all voices? How do we leverage the idea that when we have multiple perspectives that we become collectively more intelligent? It's also about not lowering any standards. It's about expanding. It's about creating a broader vision. So in addition to having academic excellence, how do we create another level of excellence that taps into how we function in a multicultural world, how we function across differences? How do we make those adjustments to an ever-changing world from the human standpoint as well as the standpoint of technology and everything else that is shifting? And the equity work that I'm a part of absolutely honors that and values excellence in schools and honors an inclusion of all perspectives. So it's very unfortunate to see articles, to see school boards, to promoting this idea that equity is against that. I think anyone who is involved in education, any teacher, any support staff, equity is the foundation of our trade, our profession. It's an obligation to do what we can to meet the needs of each and every student that we serve. It also is to our best advantage to consider the relationships with our peers as educators and make sure that the adults in the learning community are feeling included, and that aspect of a multi-generational environment where learning is celebrated, where creativity is honored. This is the only equity I've ever known. So it's very unfortunate that there is this counter narrative to that, and I respect people's opinion, but I often find that it's unfounded and ungrounded in the way that equity work is actually implemented. I think there's certain sentences or statements that are taken out of context, particularly the idea of privilege, white privilege, the idea of social justice. So many, I think, terms have kind of become associated with this idea that it's an indoctrination. Ideas of people having power or people having privileges, or this is just thinking in a sophisticated way about the dynamics that help us be a better democracy. It doesn't mean that anybody needs to be demonized or dehumanized. In fact, it's the opposite. It's that we can bring those things to the surface and allow students who often offer the greatest wisdom around these issues to be engaged in those conversations that prepare them for their adulthood and being a generation to perhaps continue to broaden the definition of what democracy is. And so, I'm just really speaking from the heart. I didn't have any real idea of where I would take this or what points to make, but just from the bottom of my heart, I really plead with those of you who are perhaps tuning in to social media or tuning in to what you're seeing as perhaps these victories of eliminating equity processes in schools. And to me, it's very disappointing and unfortunate and tragic for communities that really are aware that equity is the water under the boats that lift everybody. It's not about sinking some boats and floating others. It's really about lifting everybody. And so with that in mind, please make sure that when you are hearing from people that are against equity work, that they are actually people that have participated in equity work, that they have actually gone through a journey or through a process. And then if perhaps they still have this attitude about equity, that maybe you really consider, like, what was that equity process or program, or what was the design of that particular equity work that allowed that type of idea to manifest, of that sense that this is about making people feel guilty or to shame anybody. It's the absolute opposite of that. It's about moving together in conversations without shame, without blame, in a way that's authentic and real, and building empathy across our stories, and to leveraging the idea that we all bring culture with us, that we are not blind to people's differences, that we can be very aware of the beautiful differences that people bring and the similarities we bring, and to build community around that, build unity. So just thank you for taking this time to hear what I'm saying. Our work is deep equity. Our work is youth equity stewardship. You can see our work at www.yesdeepequity.com. That offers a slight window into the work we do. And any of the equity practitioners have their own links to the work they do. But in respect to the work that I've experienced and the work that we engage and that we implement, it's a far cry from the narrative that equity work is in any way harming or hurtful to anybody. If anything, it is a process that heals all, that restores all, that celebrates the things that we do already that are wonderful about teaching, the powerful, service-oriented people that take on this occupation. And so just to honor all the teachers, to all the support staff, all the families that contribute to make education such a shining light in this nation, I just thank you for taking this time, for listening to me speak to equity. All right, everybody, take care. Have a great day.